Karoline Leavitt is Donald Trump's White House press secretary. She is just as dishonest as State Department spokeswoman Tammy Bruce. She is just as much of a Trump sycophant as State Department press secretary Tammy Bruce, spokeswoman Tammy Bruce. But she is not going to fall necessarily into the same traps that Bruce falls into. In other words, Karoline Leavitt is better at her job than Tammy Bruce is, but she still has absolutely no idea what's going on. Karoline Leavitt was asked a very specific question. It's a mathematical question. It's a question of reading and arithmetic, okay? Two very important R words. Does the president support the big, beautiful bill despite the imposition of new taxes on wind and solar? And Leavitt thinks that they're credits, not taxes. Listen to this.
Thanks, Caroline. Does the president support this new measure in the big, beautiful bill that would impose steep new taxes on new wind and solar projects?
I believe you're referring to the credits for wind and solar projects.
No,
and
we're talking about the new tax. There's a new tax that it's estimated would add 10 to 20% to the cost of any new wind and solar projects that start after this year.
Again, I don't want to comment on the specifics of provisions, but I'm sure the president will speak on that directly. Again, this is an ongoing process. The president continues to be very much engaged with the leadership in both the Senate and the House to get this bill back to his desk.
Did the president ask for that provision? Because the National Building Trades Union is saying that it's the equivalent of terminating more than 1,000 Keystone XL pipeline projects. Is that something that would concern him?
Well, the president spoke on this yesterday in his interview, and he said he understands that legislators want to protect jobs in their communities and in their districts. And so he understands why some of...
So she has no idea. She's asked about some new taxes. Supposedly Trump doesn't like new taxes. And she goes, oh, you mean the credits for solar and you mean the credits for wind. No, no, no. We mean the new taxes on new wind and new solar projects. Well, I'm not going to comment on that. And the President Trump spoke about this, that, and the other thing. Now, this is part of a bigger issue with this bill, which, by the way, I'm getting reports as we are filming that Republicans have the votes, and this is potentially imminently going to pass. Then the fight will move back to the House to see if Republicans have the votes there. The big picture of the fiscal viability of this bill is that it increases the deficit dramatically, dramatic increase to the deficit. Karoline Leavitt is asked, what about the nonpartisan assessment that confirms this adds to the deficit? She goes, nope, this is fiscally conservative. And it's one of these cases where I guess it's acceptable, no matter what the facts say, to just bury your head in the sand and go, no, but no, it really does cut the deficit, no matter what the facts point to.
Well, can you respond to the CBO estimate that the Senate bill would increase the deficit by nearly $3.3 trillion?
This is one of the most fiscally conservative pieces of legislation that has ever made its way through Capitol Hill.
That is very much untrue.
$2 trillion in mandatory savings in this bill. And not only that, the projected growth that this bill will bring to our economy. It will be an economic boom. The Council of Economic Advisors has an analysis that shows that the bill will generate $4.1 trillion in economic growth. And it will cut taxes, putting more money back into the American people's pockets. That's why this president wants this bill to pass. And I know he's busy working the phones and doing what he needs to do today to make it happen. So we'll see you all later. Thank you. We'll see you in Florida tomorrow.
Understand that this is simply not true. I would respect these Republicans much more if they said, hey, you know what? Our principle is one of fiscal responsibility. Our principle is we want bills to cut the deficit. In this case, we're making an exception. The bill won't cut the deficit, but we believe that what the bill does is morally right, and it's going to take the country in the right direction. And so we're making an exception. It does raise the deficit, but we believe that it's worth it. I would respect that way more than simply going, it doesn't increase the deficit, when of course it does. But Republicans aren't really behaving in a way that draws respect, at least not from me. Okay, next topic. Karoline Leavitt is asked about some videos of ICE officers. Levit claims CNN is inciting violence against ICE officers. But then, when she's actually more specific, she admits she hasn't really seen the clip in which CNN is supposedly inciting violence against ICE officers.
I just watched a CNN segment on a new app called ICE Block, and it kind of appeared to be promoting this app where you can tell people where ICE agents are. Given the recent rise...
An app that tells people where ICE agents are?
Yes. And given the rise, I believe 500% increase in assaults on ICE agents, I wanted to see if you could comment on that and why CNN would be promoting such an app.
Well, it's a very good question. I'll have to go back and watch the clip myself, but surely it sounds like this would be an incitement of further violence against our ICE officers, as you know.
Haven't seen it, but it certainly sounds like...
You stated there's been a 500% increase in violence against ICE agents, law enforcement officers across the country who are just simply trying to do their jobs and remove public safety threats from our communities. And that's something we as Americans, including journalists at CNN who live in many of these cities where illegal aliens are hiding and were let in from the previous administration, should be very grateful for. So we haven't seen the clip. We'll take a look at it, but certainly...
Haven't seen the clip, but I'm going to confidently tell you they're inciting violence at CNN against ICE officers, and violence against ICE officers is way up. Next topic, trade deals. I know that this hasn't gotten a lot of attention over the last, few days or week because of the big, beautiful bill. But we are now days away. We are 8 days from the 90 deals in 90 days deadline. How many deals do we have so far? 0. There are 0 deals so far. Where are we at in getting to 90? Karoline Leavitt is going to let Trump speak on that.
We've been hearing from White House officials for weeks that you're close on trade deals with a number of countries. Can we get any update on which countries will have deals by the 9th and when there may be any announcements?
I'll let the president and the trade team speak on it.
Translation. We currently are on track for 0 deals. Now, if I'm totally frank, I do expect Trump to strong-arm someone by the 9th into signing some kind of deal. It may even be temporary. It may be like a 6-month or a year thing, just to be able to say we did something here. Because if they get to July 9th with 0 deals, I think it'll be a real problem. Finally, final bonus clip here from Karoline Leavitt. Have you heard of swastikas? What about swatstikas? I know.
Vandalized with anti-Semitic stickers, including one that showed the Israeli flag with a swastika.
Swastika. Veggie pot stickers. Swastika. These briefings really are exhausting. They really take a lot out of you. I've been researching my family tree for years, and the tool that I keep coming back to is MyHeritage. I started using it long before they ever became a sponsor, and what I love about MyHeritage, what really makes it powerful, are the features that simplify building the family tree. The other day, I used instant discoveries to uncover an entire new branch of my family I didn't even know existed with just a single click. I also found an old black and white photo of a relative, and I used MyHeritage's photo colorizer tool to really bring it to life. It's amazing what you can uncover: immigration papers, census scans, records from over 33 billion historical documents. Like if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm showing a scan of an immigration document from when a relative of my mom arrived at Ellis Island, which I found on MyHeritage, which just makes it easy and fun. Maybe you're just getting started with your family tree. Maybe you're picking up where a family member left off. It's a great time to dive in, and you can try it totally free for 14 days by going to davidpakman.com/myheritage. The link is in the description.